Welcome to the third creative video of the Fantasy Creatures contest. If you stumbled upon this video and have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll refer you to the rules video that can be found in the description or as part of the same playlist. Otherwise, here we go. Today we are going to take a closer look to the cultural influences that can lead to the development of the society of these creatures, and how you can use these questions to characterize them in more detail. So your creature has risen from the ooze from which it was born, and its civilization has grown into a complex society. How do we create such a society? Over time, intelligent species become less and less susceptible to biological pressures, and their society begins to form more and more around socio-cultural components. Ask yourself which social construct will determine how individuals think. Static creatures seems unrealistic. To make them dynamic, change is the key. Show a different socio-cultural set in different populations, as well as an evolution of cultural lineages over time. Ask how culture changes in space, so different regions, and how it changes over time, so in different eras. Social castes are an important part of society. Consider what social castes may exist and whether they are well defined or have blurred boundaries. Can people easily move from one to another, or are these castes impermeable? Local circumstances leads to local adaptations. Isolated populations tend to develop cultural distinctiveness, while a regular contact between different populations lead to cultural contamination. Consider whether your creatures are isolated or well integrated in a multicultural environment. Each aspect of culture coexists with all others, and social-cultural elements influence each other by changing over time. Philosophy can inspire political movements that lead to changes in the social class system, which leads to changes in the economic system. Ask yourself if the social construct you have developed are influencing other aspects of culture. These are the suggestions I can give to you for this video. Now let's start with the part of the video where I sum up what we invented for the creatures in this contest. Aetherites are ethereal humanoids with the ability to manipulate gravity, allowing them to float effortlessly and bend space around them. Originating from a dimension where gravity is erratic and non-existent, they evolved to control their personal gravitational pull, a trait tied to their deep connection with astral energies. This unique ability enables them to create and inhabit majestic cities in the clouds, where objects and structures float freely, sustained by their mastery over gravitational forces. The Aetherites trace their lineage to beings of pure energy that once existed in the astral plane, a realm of chaotic gravity and boundless dimensional movements. These astral entities were integrated to the fundamental forces of the universe, unbound by physical constraints. Over millennia, a portion of their kind descended into material realms, drawn by curiosity and the desire to interact with the physical world. Their integration into these realms marked the beginning of their evolution into humanoid form, though they retained their astral-born gravity manipulation as an hallmark of their origin. In the physical world, Aetherites constructed sky-bounded civilizations atop the clouds or towering mountain peaks, where gravity's influence is weakest. However, their astral connection comes with inherent dangers. If an Aetherite loses focus over control of their gravity, they may crash disastrously on the ground or inadvertently slip back into the astral plane. To mitigate this risk, the Aetherites developed dimensional anchors, advanced devices that can stabilize their gravity and ensure their continued presence in the material world. These anchors have become essential tools, safeguarding their lives and enabling the growth of their floating cities. Despite their mastery, Aetherites remain vulnerable. Their hospitals are gravity-controlled sanctuaries designed to prevent accidents caused by gravitational imbalance. This combination of astral heritage, physical adaptability, and technological innovation defines the Aetherites as a race of awe-inspiring power and fragile beauty, forever balancing between dimension and boundless skies. Crynids are graceful aquatic humanoids with translucent wings that allow them to glide effortlessly above water, manipulating tides and currents through the power of song. These ancient beings dwell along coastal cliffs, where their ethereal voices harmonize with the ocean's rhythm. Their wings, designed to catch wind and water vapor, grant them a unique ability to skim across the sea surface, bridging the gap between air and water. Their songs, once vibrant and powerful, are diminishing as ocean pollution and ecological damage disrupt the delicate balance of their world. This decline has divided Crynids society. Some strive to heal the seas and restore their magical bond, while others seek alternative ways to sustain their influence, often turning to ancient artifacts or untested magical sources. Among them, the revered Tidal Guardians have emerged as protectors of their legacy. Armed with sacred relics, believed to be fragments of the ocean soul, these custodians amplify their fading songs to cleanse the waters and restore harmony. Crynids may have evolved through a profound symbiotic relationship with marine life. They could have originated as simpler aquatic beings, perhaps resembling winged sea creatures like sea dragons or giant seagulls. Their melodic abilities likely developed as a means to communicate with marine animals and guide ocean currents. Over time, this bond deepened and their songs became a magical force intertwined with the vitality of the sea. However, as pollution and overfishing disrupt marine ecosystem, their connection to the oceans weakened, threatening both their magic and way of life. Legends suggest that Crynids were once guardians of sacred underwater temples, protectors of ancient sites imbued with the sea primordial energies. These temples, a reservoir of their song's potency, have largely been lost to industrialization and environmental degradation. As the oceans deteriorates, so too does the magic that once flowed freely through these sanctuaries, leaving the Crynids to confront a future where their role as stewards of the seas hang in delicate balance. Caught between past glory and fraught present, the Crynids embody the struggles to preserve harmony with nature in a changing world. Their plight is both a warning and a call to action, as they fight to heal their water and protect the songs that sustain their very existence. Faurils are sentient forest spirits composed of bark and wine, their forms rooted in the vitality of nature itself. These beings possess the unique ability to reshape their body and merge with trees, transforming into massive, mobile fortresses to protect their woodland homes. They communicate through the rustling of leaves and the subtle shifting of roots, their voice an extension of the natural world they embody. Originally created by an ancient order of druids, the Faurils were born from powerful magic that fused the forest spirits with the vitality of trees. This fusion gave them the ability to commune with nature and serve as eternal guardians of the forest, protecting their lands from external threats while maintaining the delicate balance of their ecosystem. However, as industrialization and widespread deforestation encroach upon their homes, the Faurils' connection to the elements of magic has begun to wane. In desperate bid of survival, some Faurils have turned to forbidden and volatile forms of elemental magic, reshaping their very existence. These, being known as elemental hybrids, draw power from sources like volcanic magma or the decaying vitality of swamp rot. While these new forms grant them fearsome strength, they come to a dire cost, the loss of their spiritual purity and harmony with the natural world. Twisted by these corrupted elements, elemental hybrids often emerge from blighted forests, with their form now resembling fortresses of burning wood or toxic marshes. This internal conflict has divided the Faurils. Some cling to their original purpose, striving to restore balance and protect what remains of their forest. Others embrace the power of these dark forces, seeing them as necessary evolution to survive in a changing hostile world. Despite the struggles, the Fauril remain a symbol of nature's resilience and the cost of its exploitation. Whether standing as noble guardians or fearsome hybrids, they embody the enduring spirits of the wild and the consequences of humanity's encroachment in the natural world. Nyxari are enigmatic shadow-dwelling creatures with a unique ability to consume light and teleport through shadows, traversing the world by swimming in darkness. Inhabiting the twilight realms between light and dark, they rely on the ambient light of the material world for sustenance, but their feeding comes to a cost. The light they consume leaves area colder and darker, which can attract void-born horrors. This delicate balance between survival and deconstruction defines the Nyxari's existence, as their ability both sustain and threaten their kind. The origin of the Nyxari are steeped in a cataclysmic event, the collision between their world and a shadow realm where light is scarce and creatures thrive on darkness. This event altered the Nyxari's very biology, enabling them to draw energy from light and use it to traverse the overlapping dimensions. Initially a peaceful race that lived harmoniously with the Twilight Zone, the Nyxari growing dependence on light and the dark energy it unleashed began to wrap their culture and bodies. For some Nyxari, the consumption of excessive light leads to a transformation into void-touch beings. These individuals develop a strong connection to the void, granting unparalleled teleportation ability, but losing their physical form, becoming more akin the living shadows. The Void Touch are feared even among their own, and their bond to the Void often drives them to madness, or compels them to serve Void beasts, spreading darkness and chaos. The Nyxari shadow manipulation likely began as a survival mechanism in their dim environment, allowing them to evade predators or hunt prey. Over millennia, this evolved into a mastery over stealth, teleportation and combat, making them formidable assassins and spies. However, the power they wield is a double-edged sword. The more light they consume to fuel their abilities, the closer they draw to the Void's corrupting influence. Today, the Nyxari are in a crisis, divided between those who seek to preserve their balance and resist the Void's pull, and others who embrace the darker path of power at the cost of their essence. Their plight reflects a longer struggle between light and dark, as their actions shape not only their own destiny, but also the fate of the realm they inhabit. The Oskaans are agile feline-like warriors, renowned for their mastery of both martial and magical arts. Distinguished by their prehensive tail, they use their remarkable appendages to channel magical energy with precision, casting spell or manipulating objects from distance. In battle and craft alike, the Oskaans display unparalleled versatility, their society placing great value on personal strength and the dual mastery of physical and magical prowess. Among the Oskaan, an elite group known as the Astral Tail Master has risen to prominence. This rare individual possesses the extraordinary ability to tap into the astral magic, allowing them to manipulate space and time. With this power, Astral Tail Masters can freeze enemies mid-motion, shift objects across dimensions, or anticipate their opponent's action moment before they occur. While revered for their abilities, these masters are also feared. Their manipulation of astral energies carries the risk of destabilizing reality itself, if used recklessly. The origins of the Oskaan unique powers may lie in ancient interdimensional cataclysm. This event, a collision between their world and an astral plane, temporarily fused aspects of the physical and ethereal realms. The fallout of this event caused a magical manipulation among the Oskaan, granting them their prehensive tail and the ability to channel raw magical energy. Over generations, the Oskaan honed these abilities to survive in a reality altered by the interdimensional upheaval. The Astral Tail Masters emerged from these adaptations, pushing the limit of their magical potential to interact directly with the astral plane. However, their powers are a double-edged sword. Prolonged use of astral magic exposes them to its chaotic, destructive effects. This vulnerability has made their society wary of over-reliance on such powers, even as they admire the Masters' contribution to Oskaan culture and survival. The Oskaan's evolution from a magically altered species to a disciplined and skilled people showcases their resilience and adaptability. Their society thrives on the balance between independence and cooperation, strength and resistance, ensuring they remain a force to be reckoned with both the material and astral realms. The Talraks are nomadic plant-like creatures with flexible root-like limbs that enable them to traverse continents and connect deeply with the earth. By planting themselves into the ground, they can draw energies and memories from the soil, accessing knowledge of past events embedded in the land. As they travel, they leave behind trails of fertile ground, rejuvenating the environment as they pass through. Over time, aging Talraks lose mobility and eventually root themselves permanently, merging with the landscape and transforming into sentient trees. These rooted Talraks form the Elder Root Councils, sacred grooves of immense wisdom and memory that serve as guiding authorities for their nomadic kin. The origins of the Talrak are shrouded in ancient lore. One account suggests they were created by primordial earth elemental beings, who sought to preserve the wisdom of the natural world. Those beings imbued specific plants with the ability of absorb and store memories from the soil, which over millennia evolved into the mobile and sentient Talraks. The Talraks' existence serves as a living bridge between nature and memory, with their travels enriching both the land and their collective knowledge. Those that take root permanently become more than just ancient sentient trees. They transform into sacred temples revered as intermediaries of the nature gods. The Elder Root Councils are seen as custodians of the planet's memory, holding within them centuries of wisdom, tragedy, and triumph. The advice of the rooted Talrak is often cryptic, reflecting their deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all life. Only those truly in tune with the rhythms of nature can fully grasp the depth of their messages. Through their nomadic journeys and eventually stillness, the Talrak embodies the eternal cycle of growth, knowledge, and renewal, ensuring that Earth itself remembers and endures. The Thaurk are gentle, towering giants that traverse vast deserts, carrying entire ecosystems on their immense back. These walking arcs nurture life in barren landscapes, supporting forests, rivers, and communities of smaller creatures that live in symbiosis with them. As they slowly roam the desert, they provide sanctuary and resources for countless species that would otherwise struggle to survive. However, the Thaurk are dying out, and the vibrant ecosystem they sustain are withering. The creatures that depend on the Thaurk now face a desperate challenge to either find new ways to maintain their homes or risk to losing them forever. Some inhabitants of the Thaurk's back have begun constructing desert sanctuaries, artificial ecosystem in oases, and underground caves that mimic the life-giving environment under giant protectors. These sanctuaries combine advanced magic and technology to preserve life and sustain communities once wholly dependent on the Thaurk. The origins of the Thaurk are steeped in mystery. One tale speaks of a long-lost druid civilization that created them to preserve nature during a desert apocalypse. By imbuing ordinary giants with potent magic, the druid transformed them into living sanctuaries capable of carrying plants and animals across the arid wastelands. This magic is now fading, causing both the Thaurk and their ecosystem to decline. The smaller creatures that rely on them have turned to ancient relics and forgotten rituals in hopes to reviving the druidic enchantments that once sustained their towering guardians. As the elemental powers within the Thaurk vein, some inhabitants have uncovered relics believed to be remnants of the druids. These artifacts, if harnessed, could sustain the giants and their ecosystem for generations to come. The Thaurk embodied the fragile balance between life and the elements, and their survival is intertwined with the fate of the desert they cross. The Thogrum are towering mountain-dwelling giants with crystals-infused skin that channels the element's energy of the earth. They use their powers to mine rare minerals deep within the mountain and construct colossal fortresses that serves both as homes and monument to their civilization. The Thogrum's culture is rooted in the philosophy of equilibrium, reflecting their mastery of opposing forces and their reverence for balance. However, their existence is under threat from a mysterious blight that disrupts the Earth's energy flow, weakening their connection to the land and jeopardizing their survival. In response to the blight, some Thogrum have turned to extreme solution, becoming crystal-born warriors. These individuals forge an irreversible bond with the crystal embedded in their bodies, fusing completely with the Earth's energy. The transformation grants immense elemental power, but at a dire cost. Over time, they lose their physical form, becoming living crystalline beings with diminished ties to the material world. While revered for their sacrifice, the Crystalborns are a devised symbol among the Thogrum, as their transformations strain the dwindling energy reserves and may hasten the race extinction. The Thogrum's origins are shrouded in ancient lore. One legend claims they were sculpted by a lost civilization of dwarves, who imbued them with crystal powers to serve as guardians of the mountains and protectors of the precious resources. Another theory suggested that the Thogrum were born in mineral-rich regions where potent earth energy fused with the crystalline formations, creating living conduit of elemental power. These origins tied the Thogrum to the heart of the earth, making the current blight, possibly caused by the depletion or corruption of these energy sources, an existential crisis for their kind. The Thogrum's once thriving civilization now faces a tragic cycle. While the Crystal-born warriors temporarily extended the race's ability to harness the Earth's energy, their transformation accelerated the depletion of the already fading energy pools. In desperation, the Thogrum have begun seeking alliances with other races, hoping to uncover a solution that will restore the balance they hold sacred. Whether their race can find a sustainable path forward or succumb to their dwindling power remains an open question, one that might determine the fate of the mountains themselves. Now it's your turn. Feel free to enrich each of these concepts by paying special attention to the cultural influences that make up their society. For each species I will leave a comment in the description with the name of the race, as I did with the last video. Please reply to that to suggest your own ideas, and of course feel free to suggest completely new species. Have fun!